Have you got a clamp like this? Well, don't despair. It can be repaired. Thousands of clamps over the years would have been thrown out, all because they were missing this little part that goes on here. Now, I don't know the correct term for it, but we're going to call it a clamping platform or a swivel platform. Today, on AC's Make and Repair, we're going to repair it so it looks like this. Rightio, obviously we're going to need a lathe. I had some leftover stock 1.25" mild steel, and I've faced off two ends. I'm going to machine part of it down to about 28mm in diameter. That's going to be the main clamping surface. So let's do that now. One more millimetre to go. Doesn't have to be exact. The original cast ones weren't that exact anyhow. I'll measure it again. A little bit more. I've got it down to size. While I've got it in, I'm just going to use a file just to put a slight bevel on that corner. There we go. Right, now I'm going to swing it around and chuck it from this end. And now I'm going to machine it down to the same size as the other end. Then we can start machining it down to what we want. We've machined here blank down. This is the head end, the clamping end. This end here we're going to taper off. But first we're going to centre drill it and drill it out to 1mm oversize to the ball on the end of the clamp thread. So let's centre drill now. Take the tail stock off. Going to centre drill now. I'm going to drill the size oversized hole now. I just measure the depth by the quill on the tailstock, and I have to go about 10mm deep with this one. There we go. That's our hole drill. We're going to end up with something similar to this. So I need to turn this part here down to 1mm, about 1mm. It doesn't have to be exact, just thin enough so I can, when we put this over the ball, we pin these in with the punch and a hammer so they grip around the top of the ball. I'll actually take a few cuts on the outside first. I just realised that I still have to trim this distance down another 3mm. I want that about 7/8 or 22mm long. So I'll trim this down first, then I'll come back and do that. Then I've got to do the hole another 3mm deep. Right, I've trimmed that down to length. Now, like I said, I'm going to trim that down to size now, about a 1mm bigger than the idea of that. I've got to drill the hole first to make sure it's 10mm deep because I've trimmed 3mm off. So I'll do that now. Then I'll show you, once I've trimmed that down to the millimetre bigger, I'll just taper it off and I'll show you that too. Okay, drill that hole deep enough. Now you don't want it to go too deep up to here because you want it to bottom out when it's clamping on the tip of the ball. So you don't want it too deep. You want it to go to about there on the shoulder. I don't know if you can see that. There. And about what I've done there, if you can see that clearly enough. By the time you pin the edges in like that, it goes lower still. So we'll go with that, I think. I think that'll be pretty right. So what I'll do is I'll go in now and I'll start turning that down a millimetre bigger than the ID, and then I'll taper it off up to that shoulder there. Like I said, it doesn't have to be 100% accurate. No, I think I've done a tip there, cutting tip. I just changed my cutting tip. Rightio, that's cutting a bit better. Sorry if I get in your road here. Just trying to. The video went a bit blurry there for a while. I've already machined that down. That's about 1mm diameter bigger than the ID. And I'm just going to, I'll set my compound and I'll just cut that little taper there from there to there. Rightio, I've set the compound. Now I'm just going to run a taper there from there to there. Pretty warm this old lathe. A bigger cut. I'm going to have to finish the taper manually. There's a little part inside my cross slide here that plays up once in a blue moon, and it's just done it right now. Just as I was doing this, I run out of thread and it causes some problems if I go too far. So I'll just finish it off manually now. There we go. More than good enough for what we want. Okay, I'll just take that out of the chuck and I'll show you how I cut the grooves in it. That's quite simple. Okay, all I do is I mark out centre. Doesn't have to be exact. Don't use a centre square or anything like that because it doesn't have to be that exact. Then I'll work out roughly halfway on the other side. Because it centres itself pretty well when that ball goes down the bottom of that drill hole. So all I do now is I take a thin disc and a 4-inch angle grinder like this, and you can cut them quite safely into down at about that shoulder there. I'll just show you how I do that. Now it doesn't hurt to cut the top of these holes a little bit wedge, these grooves a little bit wedge shape, like this. There we have the little grooves there now. Okay, now we've got a pin over these parts. What I've done is I've actually clamped this in another clamp. You could actually use the original clamp. I just took the this jaw off that clamp to do it. Made it easier. What I'm going to do is just pin these over here. They pin over quite easily. Don't do them all at once. Go around, do them section by section. So I'm going to do opposites here. So those two opposites are pretty well done. Then I'll go into this fella here, tap him in. He's in. And then this one here's, well, this must be his mate here. And I'll tap him in too. Let's have a look at that. See if I've got them all. No, this one here needs a bit more. A little bit more on this other back one too. There we have it. Rightio. Take it out. There you go. Flexes around quite good. And more than adequate. Doesn't want to come off. A little bit of slop. Doesn't hurt to have a bit of slop. It will know. There's no way that will slip off. I could even pin that in a little bit more, which I might do later. Oh, there you go. Here's some examples of ones I've done in the past. Don't have to be just on F clamps or sliding clamps. They can be on G clamps or C clamps, as some people call them. Smaller clamps. You notice on this one, I've put more than 4 cuts in it because the ball on the end of that one was quite large. Thanks for watching AC's Make and Repair again. As you can tell, this is repaired to good use again. I've got to do a couple of little minor repairs, other minor repairs on this. It's a Swedish clamp. Otherwise, it would have been worthless. It would have been good for nothing usually. So I've repaired it. I hope you can repair some of yours too. And I did about 10 of these at one time, which was quite handy. And now they're all getting used at time to time. So look, if you liked it, like and subscribe please. And we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.